Today we're going to complete exercise 8-1. Add exception handling to the future values program. First off, we're going to open it in idle. And I'm going to save it under another name. So save as. Always a good habit to do that. I don't want to ruin the original and have to re-download it. Okay. First thing they want us to do is to review the code, see what it currently does before we make any changes. Looking at it, I see the shebang statement at top. Pretty standard. And then I see 1, 2, 3 functions that get called, and also actually a fourth function, which is a just a main function. So another pretty standard thing to do in a program. So let's look at the main, because that's where we're going to start off when the job runs. And you can see that we have a big loop, and we basically set the condition for this loop to yes in the beginning, choice, and it's going to continue to just loop through here forever until basically the choice is set to no, or in actually anything but y. Looking at the logic here, so basically it waits and keeps on looping and going through until someone enters anything but y. Okay, so let's look in a little more detail here, and now let's look at the functions. We have a monthly investment, which calls the get number function, and a yearly interest rate, which also calls get number, and then we have a get integer function that is called also. It looks like these functions are passed 3 parameters. We have some verbiage, which looks like the verbiage is going to get displayed on the screen, and we have a high and a low acceptable ranges. So if we go into the get number, it pulls in a number float to be exact, and looks at the high-low values, see if it's within range. If not, it makes you print it again, and would keep basically going on until either you enter a number that falls into the range or the program crashes. And that's really what they're asking us to do in this assignment. This other condition, the program crashes. Someone enters a alphanumeric. They enter an alpha alphabet, like A or B or C or whatever gets entered. Currently, this program will not be able to handle that, or at least this function here. If we go down to the next, get integer. Okay, we're pulling it in from the screen. In the same thing. If it can handle anything that's acceptable integer, and checks for the range, and if the range is not right, it goes and gives you a little message, and then asks for it again, kind of loops here forever until you get some correct or it crashes. And once again, we need to solve the problem of it crashes. They want us to add error handling in this so it won't crash, and that's going to really be the goal of this. And then your final function here, once everything has been gathered, it does all your calculations. And then returns it. And then once returned, it's able to print. Okay, so let's just test this out. So let's run it. Always good to test these things out. Let's say $100 this month. Interest rate of 7%, and let's go for 20 years. Okay, that worked fine. And we're going to say continue. No. So we're done with that. So let's try it again. But this time, let's put in an interest rate or monthly investment of T. Oh, that's not good. Look, it crashed. There's no nice way it was handled. We get a value error saying could not convert string to float. So what has happened is that it hits here where we have input, pulls it from the screen, which could be alphanumeric, alphabet, or it's just basically a string, and it tries to put it into a floating point number. And T is definitely not a floating point number, so Python crashes. And what we're going to work on really shortly is making exception handling to make it not crash, to kind of give it a second chance. We're going to try to capture this error, and once you capture error, you can do multiple things with it. You could end the program gracefully and say, oh, you entered some wrong. But what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to continue with our program. We're going to try to catch this error, and we're going to try to continue on with the program, and kind of catch this error kind of the same way they did with the high-low value. So when they entered the out of range, it went and gave you a message, and then gives you a chance to redo it. And we want to do the same with this error. So let's first look at the get number function, and we're going to have to add some a try to basically both these two functions, and that should do it. So let's figure out where to change in here, and we're going to try it right here. We're going to say try, and we're going to have to do a little shift in here, because now that we have another indent, things need to be moved to the appropriate place. Okay, so we're going to go try, and right after that try, the next thing we're going to look for is we're going to do the number, and we're going to do the conversion. And so right after this conversion is where we want to throw our accept, because that's going to be the point of issue. So we're going to accept value error, and that's the kind that it's going to throw for this situation. And now we're going to have to determine what to say when we hit this condition. So we're going to go print we're going to go say like invalid number, and give me a little exclamation point. Then we're going to use continue, What this is going to tell is that we want to continue with the program. We know there's been an error, we captured it, and we're going to do nothing about it. But what we did do about it, we're going to do, so I guess doing nothing about it isn't 100% true. We're going to print a message and then do nothing about the error. So we're going to ignore it after we print the message and just continue on with this giant loop we're in. Okay. So then we're going to put this at a different level. I'm moving this around a fair amount. Okay, so there, and then we're going to do our checking. Is valid equal true? If so, we're going to return a number. Else, and let's get this a little further back here. Basically, else, and that's a continuation, so that should be okay. Else, we're going to go back where we are. So the idea of this is that we're going to start within this while true loop, which is going to go on forever until we do something such as get a break, it crashes, or we hit this return. We have the try in there, and we're not going to do anything like exit the program, which is another thing we could do, but we're going to go continue. So what's going to happen is that if it hits the error condition this time, it should continue. So we're going to want to try the same thing with the with this other function we have defined here. So we're going to go try, and we're going to pull in the number, and if it does happen to crash, and here we're going to do a copy and paste. Great invention. Copy and paste could get you in trouble a couple times if you copy too much or too little, but in general, the copy and paste, a good quick way to save a little time. So in this error condition, you know what we're going to do? We're going to actually do basically the same thing. So let me just grab it from here. Let's shoot it down here, and we're gonna say instead of invalid number, say integer is a number also, but we're gonna say integer to keep it kind of aligned with the function. We're gonna do the same thing. If we reach a state, we're going to continue very similar to what we did just a little bit ago in the other function, and we're going to keep this the same because that doesn't really need to change up. And when we get to this third function, we're not going to have to do anything because really all they asked us to do for exercise 8 is to add this extra error checking in there. So let's try this out. Okay, so good so far. We're going to try a normal one. So let's say $100. Good. 7% for 20 years. Okay, no problem. But now, let's introduce an issue, a Q. Okay, that was not good. Let's look at what happened. During handling of exception, another exception occurred. Uh-oh. So let's go here. And let's try to figure this out. We're going to try to figure out this exception that happened within our exception. So we hit this. It looks there. And we're asking it to say invalid number. But it looks like it died before it even got there. We have value error. That looks like that's done correctly. And there it is. Our issue is with the print. You notice how this print is in kind of a purple? This isn't. So basically, I had a capital P and did this and this one too. Python couldn't figure out what it was. So I think we're good now. Let's try it again. Try that Q. Ooh, invalid number. Good so far. Well, let's try to get it in the integer function. So let's try W. Oh, invalid number. Actually, that's not the integer. Must be the next one. Okay, number of years is going to be the integer. So we tested the same function twice. But let's test this second, the integer function now with a W. Invalid integer. Very, very good. So that worked. But let's do one more test. I want to make sure we didn't mess up any of the high-low. So it's always good to do a little extra testing to make sure when you made a change to a program you didn't mess anything up. So let's go over in years when we get there. So we could actually go over in monthly amount too. Let's go. Oh, that's a big amount. Oh, yep. So that worked. There. 107. For a lot of darn years. Then it says nope. Put in 20. So it looks like we completed the assignment and it is ready to hand in.